Hey guys, Doug here with your week 9 MyStatLab problem 4 example. So let's go ahead and take a look. It's the same one we did I did for you in problem 1, where we have a developer who wants to know if the houses in two different neighborhoods were roughly built at the same time. She takes a random sample of 6 houses from each neighborhood and finds their ages from local records. The accompanying table shows the data from each sample. I have the table here. Assume that the data come from a distribution that is normally distributed. Okay, for this problem, even though I have written it up in Excel, I'm going to let StatCrunch do most of the work for us. As you know, StatCrunch is part of your MyStatLab and can be used to do a lot of things. I like Excel, use Excel a lot. Excel does many things for us. But in this case, we're going to use StatCrunch to let it work a couple of numbers for us very quickly, wherein if we try to do these by hand or with basic Excel functions, would take a while. So we're going to do that. So part A asks us to test the null hypothesis at an alpha of 0.05 using a pooled t-test. Well, our null hypothesis, since we have two samples here, is going to be that the two samples are equal. That's our normal null hypothesis. So our alternative hypothesis would be that they are not equal. So we want to test this to see, and we can use a p-value to help us out here. So I'm going to open up StatCrunch, which we have here, and I went ahead and copied and pasted that data from our problem with the houses from the two neighborhoods here, and I'm going to use that to run StatCrunch. So I have my data highlighted here. I'm going to go to Stat, T-Stats. We have two samples and we have our data. So our sample 1 is going to be what we have in the first column, variable 1. Sample 2 is our second column, variable 2. We're looking for pool variances and we're testing our hypothesis. I'm going to store this in our data table, and let's pull this up a little bit so you can see here. All you have to do is hit compute, and there we have it right across there. Our standard error, our degrees of freedom, our t-stat, and for us we were looking for the p-value. So I'm going to copy this, minimize my StatCrunch, and I'm going to paste it right here. Okay, so we run our test here and we get a p-value of 0.344. Well, we know to reject if the p-value is less than or equal to alpha. Well, our alpha is 0.05 here. Our p-value is 0.344, which is larger than our alpha. So we are going to go with our null hypothesis, and we will not reject it because our p-value is greater than our alpha. So in this case, the original claim that there is no difference between the two will stand. Okay, let's move on to the second part. Part B asks us to find a 95% confidence interval using the pooled degrees of freedom. For this, I'm going to go back to StatCrunch, so let's open that up. We still have our data here, and I'm going to go back to the same thing. So go to Stat, we're going to go to T-Stat, two samples with data. Again, we're going to use variable 1 and our column 2 variable, but this time we're going to do a confidence interval. We're already at our 95%, so that's our alpha of 0.05. Again, it's pooled variances. I'm going to click there. I'm also going to store the data in a table again. And again, we're too low. Let's see if I can't bring this up. There we go. And hit compute again. Well, that time it put it in a table. But I'll bring that over here and you see our lower limit and upper limits here. So let's copy, see if I can't copy the whole thing here. Go back and let's paste it here. So there we have our lower limit at negative 7.467, our upper limit at 19.467. This is our 95% confidence interval right here. Lower limit, upper limit. So there you go. There's your part B. Now for part C, it says a 95% confidence interval for the mean difference in ages of houses in the two neighborhoods was negative 7.48 and 19.48. Is this result different from the result of the pool T confidence interval? Well, look here. 746 or 747, 1947. So really, we're basically right there. There is really not much difference there. So there you go, guys. We used our stat crunch to calculate the p-value. We used our stat crunch to give us the upper and lower limits here. That's all you need. Do it very quickly using stat crunch. Just put in a couple of numbers using our table here. No reason to do anything else when it's that easy in stat crunch. So there you have it. There's your week 9 MyStatLab problem for example. See you later.